517 to scanner control. 517 to scanner control.
This is the Star Wars Squadrons podcast, Season 3, Episode 3, and I am very excited to have these guests on here. I've got 3 members of Cobra Tie. Now, as far as I know, this is a squad that began with Star Wars Squadron, so we're going to get into all of that, the history of CT, and also the history of these players, so I'm going to introduce them here off the start and get their background on Star Wars Squadron. So first we're going to start with Graf Luka, member of the community here. You've been casting for the last while here. Graf, glad to have you on the podcast for the first time.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me.
So I'm curious, what was your background to flight sims and to, Star Wars games, I guess, basically, before you got into Squadrons? Tell me about your entry into it.
Yeah, I actually started back in the 90s with the X-Wing series, and I was a big fan of the 1994's TIE Fighter. Played it after school all the time and missed other tasks over that. And later I had the collector's CD-ROM edition with full English voice, and that helped me actually learn English. And I always tried getting excellent, the first kill is ours into everyday conversation, but I failed in that regard, though.
I mean, the first kill is ours part's a little trickier, but I mean, maybe the excellent part you can get in there. So, when Squadrons came out, did you get it right away, or how did you find out about Star Wars Squadrons?
I think I saw a couple of trailers, and I was very thrilled for it. And I also heard that it was going to be VR, and I knew I wanted to play it in VR. And I think a couple of weeks after it came out, I ordered my Valve Index, and I thought I had to wait for 5 to 6 weeks for it, but then it was there in a couple of days.
Oh, nice.
And was, of course, very, very awesome. I started with the campaign, as they told us you should. And then I first got into dogfights as an A-Wing main, of course, because what else would you do?
In VR.
Especially in VR. That's all what the VR people tell you. It's absolutely true. And over the dogfights, I had an open mic because the VR headset has the inbuilt mic, so it's not a big deal having the mic open. And one of my earliest friends in the game was CTX Wedge Antilles. Back then he wasn't CTX either. And I remember that I met him first in a dogfight on Xavian, and he was quite disturbed because he had been racially abused earlier in the game before. And several people cheered him up then, myself included. And ever since we've played a lot together, and then with the other CTX guys, Pistaria, Babuski, Jersey, and much later, they kept asking me to join Discord, and I thought it was mainly because the in-game voice chat started to be more and more bugged around that time. I had no idea what Discord was, and finally I gave in, and that was basically, then I was CTX the day after. And that's how I got into the game and into the Discord and the community, basically.
Yeah, kind of a similar story for a lot of people. Yesrurrak, good to have you on the podcast. What was your background to flight sims and to Star Wars games kind of before it came out?
I think I started with the X-Wing Alliance and the early series of Ace Combat series. After that, but I didn't. I think the game that made me fall in love with this kind of games is the Star Wars Old Republic. So they brought out the Starfighter PvP game mode, and that's where I started playing a lot of that.
So when Squadrons came... sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you.
Sorry about that. Yeah, and that's the reason why I bought Battlefronts as well. So I was really excited when Squadrons came out, yeah.
So what was your experience when it first came out? Were you playing dogfights a lot more? Are you on console or are you PC?
I'm playing. At first, I was with PS4, and then I switched to PS5. Dogfight was the thing to play, for me in the early days, till now, actually.
Yeah, because I mean, I do have that kind of. I mean, earlier on, especially, I remember Cobra Tie being more of a dogfight team, and then but I mean, in the Cal Cups, you guys had fleet battles teams in there too. There was fleet battles and dogfight teams.
Yeah, but most of the guys I kind of got to know from dogfighting. So yeah, and that's the reason why they joined as well.
Now, what's up, Doc? Also, glad to have you on the podcast here. Same question. What is your background to flight sims and to Star Wars Squadrons? Kind of getting into it.
Hey, Time Mom, good to be here. So I don't have very much of a background at all with flight sims. In terms of Star Wars games, I think the first one that sticks out in my mind was the Rogue Squadron on N64. I used to go over to my cousin's place and just spam that because it was super cool and fun, and then just would play the arcade games of Star Wars here and there whenever I had the chance. But I started playing Squadrons. I think I caught it on sale for $20 sometime in November. And my friends and I, who live near me, they're like, "Hey, we know you like Star Wars. This is pretty cool. Let's give it a shot. Let's go fly and see how it goes."
And are you playing on PC or console?
So I'm on PC. I'm on mouse and keyboard because at the time when I started, all the joysticks were out of stock or insanely expensive.
Yeah, I kind of remember that too. I mean, I remember trying to get one I have like the T-Flight one for Xbox. It's under my desk here. I never really used it. I guess as soon as I started playing it, I was like, this is way too hard. I just did not want to take the time, even though I have switched over to mouse and keyboard now, which is, just as hard to learn. I guess there's like if you never play a mouse game, it's tough to learn it. But there was that huge shortage for a while on sticks that probably caused a lot of people to, wait before playing or, just decide to go other routes before playing. So
yeah, for sure. It was pretty crazy. I was like, well, I guess I could try this on mouse and keyboard. If I really like it, 3 months, I guess I can try to buy a joystick.
So Cobra Tie, how did it start? Graf Luka, you kind of mentioned that you were asked to join the Discord, and that's how you kind of got onto Discord and found the greater community. But how did Cobra Tie first start?
I think that's probably best answered by Yesrurrak. He's been around since the beginning.
Yeah, I think that's my cue, if that's okay. So yeah, like every other game that one loves to play, we want to look for players that to play with that is sort of like in the same wavelength to have fun with, and that is actually what happened. I remember Beach 89 being the first wingman I had, and Darth Q, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, we were in the same server, the TFA server. And Sitcon Flash, I think we got them from the official Squadron server. And yeah, so
how did you end up grabbing them? Though I never actually found out how you grabbed them.
Were you talking to them in game, or was it messaging through those Discords that you had them in already, or maybe a mix of both, kind of knowing them from in game, so you message them on the Discords?
Yeah, some people I just talk with in the in-game chat, and like Sitcom Flash, it was more of a Discord thing. And what happened? Let me see. We got all together, and then we tried to. Just a sec.
Did you lose your notes? Did the cat get them?
Cat ate his notes.
Yeah, we got together and then we discussed. We actually joined TFA at the beginning, and that's where we got Mojo and Kara and all of them.
It's so fun. Yeah, so many of these players you've listed too still play the game. That's awesome that it's got such history there. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mojo doesn't play it anymore. Since
rest in peace.
real life circumstance.
Mm-hmm. Or not rest in peace, like he died. That sounded so bad, but I mean, pay respects. Everybody I feel like Chuko was someone who people across the community love, so I feel like everyone was kind of bummed. But he stopped playing because he played with, I remember when Orange, we would play with him. I mean, Sabra, so many different groups knew him.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. But then we kind of, unfortunately, didn't work out with TFA. And we actually we're thinking what to do next. And we got together again and talked about it. And we came to the conclusion of just creating our own thing.
Yeah, I mean...
And hence, CTX came to be.
You skipped. What about Sunset Ravens?
Oh man, if I gotta tell the whole story, then it's gonna be 6 hours.
Give us the cliff notes.
What's Sunset Ravens? You can. I mean, we got the time. We got the time now. This is the time to do it, if ever.
Gotcha. Well, before we have the Discord server, and this was before TFA. We used a Discord server called Sunset Ravens, which was actually my Destiny 2 clan server before. So we were kind of renting out a space there. And that's where we gathered, where the snakes gathered, one after each other.
So earlier on, too, was it mostly based out of dogfights? Because it took a while before I remember you guys all being more into fleet battles, too. So was that the origin of it? Was the dogfights, or am I wrong to think that?
No, that's actually correct. I met everyone through dogfights, so that's since at the beginning you wanted to have a group to be able to fly fleet battles, and so we were more concentrated on dogfight, let's say, and we enjoyed playing with each other and just killing, murdering other pilots.
I mean, so early on, like what I remember happening is that because it was still a lot of countries were in lockdown, so people from everywhere would get to fly a lot with, like all the North Americans would get to fly a lot with the Europeans, which is how we ended up running into Yesrurrak and Mojo and Kara and them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this game was a huge pandemic game. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no worries. It's a gigantic pandemic game for me, at least. But as far as I know, like most of Yesrurrak's recruitment happened through dogfights, and I think Mojo might have been the person who was like, "Hey, let's do this fleet battle thing," and who's interested, who wants to give it a shot.
Definitely, because I remember laddering with Chuko a ton in what would have been his EU morning, but was like right before I was going to work, basically, and then we would play, and then maybe get a game, and then I would go, and then I'd watch streams and stuff, and he'd be playing with everyone, and he was into the fleet battles. So I think, from what I remember, him kind of getting a team together for maybe the first Cal Cup, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so it was I think it was Mojo, Kara, Darth Beach, Sitka, and then I think they had Cyberraptor, who was another European. Yeah,
I think so he's from Costa Rica. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, Costa Rica, you're right. So yeah, they were super into fleets, but they also like at that point in CTX is more like, hey, let's get a bunch of friends together and let's just play fleets and see how it goes. We're not gonna go hard with the practice or go super hard like training up strategies, because I think the attitude. Well, you've played with Mojo, so he's generally fairly laid back. So they were just kind of goofing off and doing fleets that way.
But I think Chuko, one thing with Chuko is he got shunt charging very early, I think, with the TIE Bomber. So he knew, because he was playing on console, but he knew how to be really effective TIE Bomber-wise, from what I remember.
Oh yeah, he was a super effective TIE Bomber, and then the way that I got dragged into fleets was because Mojo didn't want to play support anymore, and nobody else wanted to play support. So he was like, "Hey Doc, you want to come play with us?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, okay."
Story of every support main in the game today.
Lord.
At this point,
the beginning is primarily dogfight.
Yeah, and that makes me wonder. So at this point, Would you guys say that you're primarily fleet battles? Do you think it's changed?
Go for it,
Nope.
Yesrurrak and Graf.
No, I think we're kind of both, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's been founded on the base of dogfighters,
Mm-hmm.
and we still try to compete in every dogfight league there is out there. So
I mean, you guys,
yeah.
you guys have super annoying players that come out of your group. Like, honestly, like, yeah, the other day I was messing around in support, trying to work on it a little bit, and I think I came across like Speed of Light, and
No.
and I kind of wanted to quit the game, quit support basically after playing against him, right? Like, I mean, Sitka, one of the most dangerous, you know, PK players. I think there's so much strong PK play. Obviously, it goes a long way. What did you guys want to? Do you guys want to see the game go more PK? What are your thoughts of that with fleet battles, even a little bit too?
So deep down inside every member of Cobra Tie, there's an insatiable bloodlust that can only be sated by killing players.
Preach.
And so that kind of carries over to fleet as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I know for me personally, I am a little divided on that, just because now I'm playing more support, so more PK would just make my life very sad. But I would also just love to see a lot more player killing in fleets, but I know that I get my fix from that in dogfights.
Yeah, so are you guys in? You guys are in the Starcross Fighter League. You're in the shoot. Why am I'm spacing on the other 5v5 league's name?
The Squadrons,
The Premier Fight, yeah, the Premier League. So how has it gone for you guys in those seasons of play? Why don't you walk me through how you guys have done in those, the teams you put in, and how also there is a couple different teams too. You guys could maybe explain. You know, there's the different dogfighting groups and the fleet battle teams. Maybe you could explain those a little bit.
Sure. So SPL, the first season of Dogfight League, when that came up, you should have seen Yesrurrak's messages in the server. He was spamming all of us like 10 times a day. Hey guys, there's a Dogfight League. We have to join. And his enthusiasm managed to snag like 3 groups of players. So we had the main fleet battlers. We had the Chukamojo, Sitka, Beach, Darth, and them. They were like, yeah, sure, we'll do Dogfight. And then we had a group of kind of like North American based dogfighters with Yesrurrak. And we were, I would probably say, the most serious about Dogfight from the very beginning. And then we thought we could put together a third team, but the time zones and just different things didn't work out with the third team. So we took Speed of Light from that team and put him onto the second team. But from the very beginning, I think that Yesrurrak and I were always much more serious about dogfights and dogfighting strategy and dogfighting techniques and loadouts than we were fleet.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people are like super serious into fleets and fleet strategies and stuff, but for me, I think I had like a spreadsheet page for each map and each faction of loadouts and strategies, and I had a different Google Doc with each team in season 1 of SPL and each pilot saying what role they flew, what their tendencies were, what their weaknesses were, how to do this, how to counter that.
Wow, you guys actually
so we were much more. Yes.
Yeah, you guys took it deep. That's awesome, actually, because I haven't heard many people go that deep with both scouting and planning. Because, you know, most people are kind of like, yeah, we'll bring a repair kit on our TIE fighters. We'll bring 4 of those, or you know what I mean? Like, just seems like it's. But that I think that's awesome that you went deeper with it. Any cuts from that you may any notes from that you still think are applicable?
Yeah, so I think that like there seems to be this conception generally amongst most players that are still around now that dogfights are pretty brainless and there's not too much strategy there, and like 5 tanky ties is the answer, or like dampener scrambler X-wings is the answer. But there's a lot of nuance that can happen there, and sometimes people tend to think that there's one developed meta for dogfights, but it kind of boils down to if the other team is bringing the same thing over and over, and you have experienced some success beating the other team, to the people who want to take the victory to change their strategy and force the, I guess, the better team to adapt. Like for us, when we were playing Randos Season 1 of SPL, we were like, how the hell do we tackle A1 and Jester?
Mm-hmm. Oh shoot, Doc, I think you might be cutting out.
But there's definitely like...
Doc, sorry.
Dogfight.
I think you cut out a little bit there. So go back. What do you say? How do you tackle A1 and Jester? What was your approach?
I think Time Bomb is cutting off there.
Oh, is it me who's cutting? Oh, it's me who's cutting out. Oh my god.
Everybody is. I think you're both cutting out. Perhaps we're on the European server here.
I think this one is European, to be honest. I think it is a European.
Nice.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, so the last thing I heard was you were explaining your approach. How do you deal with A1 and Jester?
Oh yeah, no, the answer is we'd never found out how to deal with both A1 and Jester, because at some point A1 left Randos and we were like, thank God, oh my gosh.
Well, that makes it easier.
Yeah. Well, no, there's still Jester. There was still Jester in sub mode. We're like,
oh yeah, that's just well, that's easy.
Yeah, but there's a lot of like fun strategies that teams aren't usually aware of in dogfights that might come across like cheese, or it might come across a little bit like, oh, that doesn't make any sense at all. And I think the example that sticks out in my mind is that some teams, I think, would run 4 Dampener Scrambler X-Wings with the thought that, oh, okay, so they don't have a target that they can pick. And we looked at that and we went, hey, that's not a bad idea, but what if we could force the other team onto a target so we always knew who they were shooting at? So what we would try is we would run like 3 Dampener Scrambler X-Wings, and 1 X-Wing we would say, okay, you're just going to run reinforced array or something, so that the other team would be incentivized to try to dunk this guy. So we would always know who they were targeting. But yeah, there's a lot more dogfight strategy that's unexplored, and I think that I would really love to see more fleet battle teams and just more players in general explore dogfights.
Yeah, it is. I think there is. Honestly, it's so funny for me personally. I started playing dogfights. I that's how I liked the game. Then I moved into fleets, and I just hated dogfights. Like I felt so bad at dogfights for a good while there. Then I've slowly now gotten better, and now I like playing dogfights again. I've kind of come around. It's like full circle for me now. It like took so long, but I do. But I'm the kind of person. I mean, it's not really a secret, but I'm known for loving the flight model as we know it, like as the broken flight model. Like I think the high evasion is amazing. I do think it kind of sucks for dogfighting in that way, where though you can get into those really like reductive loadouts, whereas there's still fun to be had. Like you're saying, there's like, oh, well, we'll run 4 X-Wings, but they're reinforced, and then you can force. There's deep strategy there, but it's just taken a while for it to develop. I think sometimes from a spectator point of view, that isn't the most fun. But I feel like when we played CT in dogfights, you guys weren't doing that, though. You guys had interceptors out there. This was in the Starcross Fighter League as well, so it was 3v3. But, I mean, I feel like you guys were making cool choices in those, where we were more like, we'll go 3 TIE Fighters, and you guys were like, well, we'll bring an A-Wing, or whatever it was. You know, like you. So were you motivated to go against meta, or what are your thoughts there at all in the dogfights?
With those, so I remember, I think we split orange in preseason of SPL Season 1. You guys were running, I think, Mindfet with his mean beam bomber with
we did.
assault shield.
Yeah, we had Mindfet. Our dogfighting team kind of fell apart, unfortunately, that season from scheduling, though. But yeah, we had a pretty fun team that we put together. It just didn't work out. Yeah, having Mindfet in Mindfet Prime, I guess.
Yeah. Oh man, those were savage times. But yeah, so watching high-level dogfighting is definitely not nearly as exciting or swingy as watching like high-level fleet battles or just fleet battles in general. I can see that.
At times,
there's a lot of deep strategy.
Yeah, I see. This is the thing, though, and honestly, like I think from what I've seen, CT has done it in a much more interesting way. Like I think in the 3v3, we were like, let's just. I think it was against you guys. We were like, let's just do interceptors or something like that, and that was way more fun to do it that way, right? Like and. You guys were like, yeah, let's bring out intercept. You guys were down, right? Like I thought that was cool, and you guys did the same thing in the finals too of that one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. We really enjoy dogfights, and like Graf said, a lot of us came into the game as interceptor mains because. So for me, dogfights were like inject the adrenaline directly into my veins. Do not pass go. Just full throttle all the time. And so we do change up what ships and what loadouts and everything that we fly, depending on what pilots we're fielding and how we feel that the other team's weaknesses and what we can capitalize on that. So if they are bringing like a bunch of ICTs, then we're going to bring, TIE fighters and interceptors. But if they're bringing like fewer ICTs, then we'll put in some defenders because anti-starfighter missile and ion missile is always super strong, right? But I think that's definitely one of CT's strengths in dogfights is that we're very, very adaptable and we're very flexible with what we fly and what we can fly as strategies. So we're not limited to just one or two strategies on each faction. And we do enjoy playing fun little dogfight modifier games, which forces us out of our comfort zone and into interceptors or A-wings or supports or bombers.
You guys have fun when you play Star Wars Squadrons? Not unheard of.
Not anymore.
No, that sounds awesome though.
Not anymore.
Did any of these ideas translated all the fleet battles? Do you think it helps opens up fleet battles as well with that kind of thinking?
It does in certain ways and at some times. I know that I could never get rid of the bloodlust, so I still like shooting players, even though I'm stuck flying a support ship sometimes. But it also just, the biggest takeaway that we took from having just gotten trounced by Randalorians in Season 1 SPL was like, oh man, their coordination is top notch, so we got to be coordinated. We have to communicate with each other. So all that practice communicating, switching targets, and team shooting just led to better communication when we moved into fleet battles.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because I see in the chat here, Beach is mentioning too how SCFO was different strategy than strategy-wise than 5v5 too. Which, the same thing for 3PO versus Fleet 5. So you can definitely see that.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of nuance between 5v5 and 3v3, just in terms of what you could bring, how much depended on independent pilot skill versus team coordination. Like, I remember very early on, I was flying a lopsided dogfight with speed of light, and I was tied up with 3 people, and he was tied up with 2 people, and then on my kill screen, I see that he kills both of them, and then he's like, all right, do you need help? I'm like, oh, okay, well, yeah, sure, come on over, that's fine. So dogfighting has been a great arena for us to each individually level up our own mechanical skill as well.
I mean, for me personally, too, I think it's actually one of the best places for me to learn a new ship. Like, lately I've been working on my X-Wing and Defender, and I mean, I'm not going to find a fleet battle match, and its customs are hit or miss sometimes, so going into dogfights is actually the best way. Even if you, like, get a Murder Hornet stack or whatever, that's pretty good practice to just work on doing your power management enough that you can stay alive for a long time. So it's good practice in there, too, in dogfight, just to learn the model.
Yeah, for sure. And it's at this point, it's no longer the shortest game. It used to be much shorter than Fleet Battles, but not really anymore.
It's not at all. I feel like everyone I get into is like so long. Are they 15 minutes? I feel like they go 11 minutes like every time. Like they're like a while sometimes now. I have noticed this that
even in SCF.
The skill.
Sorry, I said even in SCFL they time out nowadays. Nearly all the time. Nearly all the time. It's only 3v3. It's only 15 minutes, but it does time out.
Oh my god! I would think they would probably be higher scores with more people out there in the 5s than the 3s, because I mean it's just more people to shoot at and shoot with.
Yeah. And there's some pilots I think in Gray, like Kebla was working on dogfighting mods to make it much more adrenaline injected, and his mods were actually like super cool and really, really fun. Definitely brought some of that tension that I remember feeling back in November and December of 2020, I think, of like, oh my god, I'm going to die, sort of. Yeah. So there's some fun stuff in the community that's happening to bring back that fast-paced excitement of dogfights.
So you guys also have like the 3PO teams as well. I feel like there's like at least Venom. There's a couple 3PO teams that you guys have out of Cobra Tie as well. Maybe I'm mistaken. You can clarify that.
Yeah, no, that's right. I think we actually have 3 teams. We have is it Cutie Ties in Zillow Division? I think it's Cutie Ties, right?
No, that's Eye of the Tiger.
Eye of the Tiger.
Okay, I only mix because a lot of players play on both teams. Yeah, but the 3PO team is Eye of the Tiger. Then we have CTX Untitled in Rancor Division, which is the team Yesrurrak and I are on, and we actually have a game in slightly more than an hour today against Pretty Hot on Dathomir, the new Niwi team. And then there's Venom, and basically what happened was we decided, or I don't even remember who had the idea, if it was Yesrurrak or if it came from the Venom group. We are mostly European, but some of us are also US based, and we thought, okay, Venom, the roster is large enough to make 2 teams for 3PO, and then the idea came up, okay, let's do one European team, exclusively European team, and one with all the US guys, and then if they need 1 or 2 extra players, they can also get the remaining European players, basically. And it ended up being Yesrurrak and me on the team, because he had shown interest. He hadn't been in competitive fleet battles before so much, I think, and for a long time at least. And we had the play-ins in the second 3PO season, and for some reason, we don't quite know how, we won our playing. It was Nadiri, it was terrible, and I think someone on the other team was AFK or had some kind of issues, because they were pressuring us so hard, and then we got our attack and it took like forever, and we basically almost one-faced the ISD, and then we were supposed to have a second play-in but couldn't do it for scheduling reasons, and Wookie ended up putting us into Ranker, and I was horrified. I thought, oh dear, this is the second highest league, we're gonna lose every game. But we improved from game to game, still moved down to Nexu, but won the play-in back for getting up to Ranker, and so far we're quite happy with our improvement from game to game. And Venom is top of the board in Minok Division at the moment. They are undefeated. We are undefeated. I don't quite know about Eye of the Tiger. I think no Zillow Division matches have... I feel like no Zillow Division matches have happened this season. At least I haven't cast any. So
is that the top division?
Getting ready for that, yeah.
Is that the highest?
Yeah, Zillow's the highest division, I think.
They're all named for different beasts. They're the most dangerous beast in the whole Star Wars universe is the Zillow beast, and that's the highest division. Then we have the Rancor, the Nexu. That's the creature Obi-Wan is attacked by in Attack of the Clones in the arena with many sharp teeth. And then there's Bantha, which is a bit more relaxed, and Minok, and finally Cute Porks, So this is the 6 3PO divisions.
I guess I never really realized that it went like, I mean, I guess I knew that because like the Porgs are the Porgs, and I didn't know what a Zilla was, but I never really got that it went through the range like that. Yeah, I'm in Zilla, and we're struggling to get our game. We haven't played any games yet. We need to do that for sure. I think we actually need to recruit a player from Orange. It's just me and Gonk right now, so I gotta do that actually.
Oh boy.
Yeah, well, because like
we lost Chili because he's with Third Wheel now, right?
Yeah, we lost everyone. Like, because everyone from Sinisters, Orange, and Tangerine is on a 3PO team or doesn't want to play 3PO. So it's, yeah, we're a little sorry, it's getting sidetracked. But 3PO, honestly, I think it's such a fun league. You do a great job casting as well, Graf Luka. It's awesome that you're very active doing that, and it's honestly so important. I think that all these games get cast, so I think it's so great you step up to do that, man.
Yeah, I like doing it, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. But I also agree on the part that it seems to be very easy finding casters to cover all the STL matches. But for all the other leagues, it's sometimes a bit more tricky. I try to cover as many games as I can in all the leagues, basically. And it's great fun. In each game is so entertaining. The tight ones, of course, because you really are in there. And I also fever with both teams. And I also I always want to see a split. I never want to get one team getting steamrolled or something. But even in the lopsided matches, you can have a lot of fun and go like, oh, what's happening now? Oh, this player Sitka has died. Finally, Sitka has died. For example, that's something everyone can agree to cheer on. And yeah, so that's a lot of fun actually. And I'm glad that happened.
I mean, I think that goes a long way in growing the community. We're kind of at this weird stage right now where the community is sort of, I feel like it's sort of a renaissance a little bit, and it is growing. People are sort of coming back to the game, and there's new people still finding it with some of the sales. And leagues, I think, do create a great avenue to get people playing more than just when the ladder time's out. And I mean, CT, you guys are fairly active recruiting too. What do you think what do you guys put in your posts for new players when you're, in the weekend Wednesday or weekly Wednesday, the Wednesday pilot? Why am I spacing on the name of that? The weekly Wednesday pilots searches. What do you guys offer basically in CT for new pilots?
I don't think we have anything posted there.
Oh, okay.
But it's just, we just fly around with everyone, and then, if someone cool and chill comes up, or if there's a need for a certain team, then yeah, and then that's where we start the recruitment.
So you guys don't, I'm wrong. You guys don't recruit in the weekly Wednesdays. You guys are invite only kind of a thing, right?
I don't even know what the weekly Wednesday is.
That's honestly, I think that's
the Reddit
cool.
Post.
Yeah, I
It's
like
a
the
Reddit
Reddit
post
post. So
where
you guys aren't like actively recruiting new players that way. It's like when you come across players, you hit it off with, that's when you kind of bring them into CT. Is that true?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Exactly.
Yesrurrak does a lot of it, and basically we get friends with them first, and then after a while, if we feel they're a good fit, they are fun to hang out with, then we ask them if they want to join. Sometimes we have a team or a role in mind we think we could get, we could need them for, but sometimes it's just, oh, come on, we're fun, we know you're fun, let's join first, and then we can think if we want to do something more, because there's a lot of great players who are quite casual, and sometimes it takes a while before they want to get into competitive play, and that's basically what happened to most of the people I play with, what's now basically the group around Venom Squadron. We were signed up for CTX a long time before the idea came around to go into competitive play, and then we started to get into that. But it was really getting the people first, fly with them, get friends with them, and then see if you want to take it to the next level, basically.
And I mean, yeah, you guys have, I mean, you look at the pilots who have come out of there, like the players who have, gone to play with Baywatch 2 at like the highest level. Like clearly you guys are like a breeding ground for people to get to that top level of Squadron. So I mean, it just shows another avenue that you guys came, from the dogfighting side, and still, you know what I mean? It all kind of leads to the same place. Whereas it felt like there was more separation almost between dogfighting clans and fleet clans at a certain point, whereas now we kind of we all chill together more or less now, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. Because at the beginning, I think, there was certain clans that are known for just playing dogfights, and but I think, like you mentioned earlier, and now it's a little bit more. We mix and match, and
Well, for sure,
just
3PO and SCFL have definitely helped that, because a bunch of the dogfighters who weren't super into deep fleet strategies, they're like, oh, we can still kill people in 3PO, and that matters. All right, I'll give that a shot.
Well, this has been really cool.
I already mentioned CTX was the first ever Discord server I joined, and I knew nothing about any of the other teams or Squadrons, clans, and whatever. And it was about the time I transitioned over from dogfights to fleet battles, because that's when all the boost drifting and pinballing started, and all of a sudden my A-wing seemed not the safest place to be anymore, and I didn't like that, and I thought, okay, perhaps I should try out something different. And then I met Flying Chili and joined CTX, and at some point I said, I don't like to play dogfights anymore. And he was like, what do you mean you've joined a dogfighting clan? And I said, oh really? I wasn't even aware.
That's awesome. So we're basically going to wrap up now. What do you guys see for the future for Cobra Tie? What do you like to see for the future of Squadrons?
Well, that one is super easy. We want more dogfights. We want more people playing dogfights. We want more people involved with SPL and SCFL. And of course, with CTX, we'll still be here. We'll be spamming our dogfights and customs, though we've kind of shied away from public queuing dogfights anymore. And we would love to see more pilots come out to dogfight.
Well, that's something we can push. Maybe we got to make some more dogfighting. I got to make some more dogfighting content. Maybe push that side of it a little bit more if I can.
Yes, very good.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, and probably, I mean, we have. It's not the most loved of the Cadet Cup rule set, but there are these tiebreaker dogfights. Perhaps we can think about adding dogfights to the big tournaments, probably at an intermediate round, or in case there is a tie or something.
Wait,
I think that could be fun, and will force people to spend more time on dogfights, basically.
So there's a dogfight tiebreaker in 3PO? There is. That's hilarious.
At least in Cadet Cup, in Cadet Cup, there's always a best of two, so a tie is possible. And if in the knockout rounds that happens, then it's a 5-minute 1v1 tiebreaker dogfight. And this is actually what happened in the last Cadet Cup last week, 3 times, I think.
Oh, wow.
That it was decided by the dogfight, which is probably not something you expect when you sign up for a fleet battle tournament. But it can be interesting. And probably even more so if it wasn't 1v1, but it was the whole team or something. Whatever.
That could be pretty fun. They did base races. That was the thing for the Twin Suns tournament that they did, where you had to one solo the flagship, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was super interesting.
That was, fastest time was the X-Wing. Plaza vs. X-Wing by someone. Anyway, we're beside the point. But very exciting to see, CT push the dogfighting stuff and, pushing Squadrons. I think that's awesome to have another community kind of pushing the game. Yesrurrak, so Graf Luka should give a shout out to your social medias as well. Why don't you shout out your Twitch?
Yeah, my Twitch. It's I should know. It's Graf Lucas. I'm not even sure with or without lower dash. Let me quickly check it myself. I'm pro. It's Graf lower dash Lucas with a K, and I'll be live in like an hour with our 3PO match.
Amazing. Doc, do you stream?
No, because I play on a public library hotspot, so I don't have enough bandwidth to stream and play.
I don't even understand how you can play this game at the level you do on that sort of an internet. I'm embarrassed. I play with people who complain about their connections. Like, how could you let anyone? If anyone complained when they were playing with you, you would be like, dude, I'm on an library hotspot right now. There's a homeless guy stealing most of this bandwidth checking his Facebook account right now, all right? Like, this is madness.
Hopefully Facebook.
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna be trying to make a dogfighting guide video, probably hopefully within February. So if you're interested in some dogfighting strategies and ideas, keep an eye out for that. I'll probably get it posted up in the servers, maybe Reddit. We'll see.
Perfect. And Yesrurrak, thank you as well for being on the podcast and starting CT. What do you think? How's the game looking for the future of Squadrons? What are your thoughts?
Like Doc said, I really wish that there would be more interest in a dogfight, like kind of like the size of SCL, because there haven't been that much teams that participated in the dogfight leagues that are up now. So yeah, more dogfights. That's the motto.
Oh, hopefully we can get a few more people going in that game. As more players kind of come into the game, I think they kind of could go that direction before Fleet. So we'll see. Maybe we'll see the next season of SPL have a little uptick in that direction. So thank you very much, Cobra Tie. Having you guys on the podcast, going over everything with you was really cool to get the story. And thank you, everybody, for checking it out. We'll catch you next time on the Star Wars Squadrons podcast.
I-17 to scanner control. I-17 to scanner control.